So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This is Match BD alongside my critique and band in crime, Ricardo Medina.
Hello.
And this is the 99th WTF exclamation mark episode of BS Beats and Bailey. Yes, folks, we are one episode shy from the big 100, boy. So excited for that milestone in this series here. But today, with this episode here, we doing things a little bit small scale. What I mean is, we're focusing on mostly TV shows and direct to DVD or Blu-ray, or I should say home media shows, basically. So we're not talking about the big screen stuff, because no, we haven't seen anything on big screen for the weekend. Sue us. I mean, down here in Trinidad, they decided to like not bring out Blockers, and Rampage at the same time. I was hoping that they would, but they kind of shift things around. So again, Rampage this weekend.
A lot of stuff got pushed back.
So which kind of sucks. But for now, I mean, we have a lot of stuff still to talk about, but it's mostly television and like we said before, home media. Yeah. So we'll talk about Wrestlemania 34, boy, which I actually checked out.
Completely skipped it.
Yeah, I know. And I mean,
the only thing I followed on was the big the appearance of Ronda Rousey, her premiere apparently. That's it. Yeah. That's the only thing I was aware of. Everything else I didn't. I kind of skipped on there.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted to talk about that now is because I will be leading into an HBO Sports documentary which came out, I believe, last Tuesday, the time of this recording, called Andre the Giant, which is based on the life of times of the legendary wrestler Andre the Giant. Right. After that, still sticking with TV. Moving from TV for a bit, going into home media. You saw the Suicide Squad feature-length animated movie from Warner Brothers Animation, Hell to Pay. I haven't gotten around to seeing it yet. I actually kind of forgot about it till like a couple days ago. It was like, oh shit, it actually came out. Wow, okay, right. So didn't get around to seeing it, but
they really promoted it poorly though. Like a lot of people skip past the radar, because I was hearing about it, but I forgot the date. But I thought like somebody would have talked about it, or they would have put it up on Twitter or something like that, or it would have show up. It didn't even show up on my my usual Google Doc thing that is just pick up like any data that I'm kind of interested in. Right. Nope, nothing. So whoever the SEO was just kind of fucked things up, and it just slipped past everybody's radar.
Right, but the thing is, I was aware of it for like quite a while through Amazon actually, because it was a Blu-ray that was coming out soon. I was looking forward to seeing the movie, but like for some reason I just kind of forgot about it. So it came out, I didn't know, but yeah, like I said, you saw it, so you will do a review for that. Afterwards, we will just talk briefly about season 3, well, specifically the season finale of CW's Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah. Which, for us, we have been really, really enjoying. This is hands down probably the best superhero series the CW has given us since The Flash. Arguably the best.
I actually prefer the show to The Flash, but we'll talk about the season and have some, I mean, both of us will agree it wasn't a perfect season, but it was still entertaining. Afterwards, you will talk about the season 3 premiere of SyFy's The Expanse. I know you are a huge fan of that show, specifically because of its hard science. Reasonably.
Well, and there's the enjoyment factor. And I will close things off with season 1 of Netflix's Lost in Space reboot. It's a 10 episode series. This is more soft science to me, so it's easy for me to digest, but I'll talk about that, and I'll also do some comparisons with the 1998 Lost in Space movie, which I would have done a retrospect reviews for, but it's a good thing I didn't, because I have some negative stuff to say about that movie, because that movie just don't hold up at all.
The old shows, but we could talk about the general franchise in total.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. But I'll this as a reminder, I'll just talk about my history with that 98 movie and why I'm so glad of the changes that were made for the most part for this series here. Yeah. So starting things off with WrestleMania 34, boy. I'll just say this right off the bat. This is, I believe, the longest WrestleMania we've ever had.
Okay,
wow. Because this shit clocking at 5 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I was like, God damn, why so long? But what going on here? There were lots of matches in this one here, and I will confess there's some that they could have just removed altogether. There was no need for certain matches to be there. And when I say 5 hours and 50 minutes, I'm not talking about the pre-show. The pre-show itself, like if you add that, that'll be 6 hours and 50 minutes, yeah? Okay, but I didn't get around to watching the pre-show at all. And for those who don't know, yes, I am a wrestling fan. I'm not a religious fan of it. I would say that right off the bat. Like, I don't be, so excited to see this guy fight this guy or this chick fight this chick, For me, the big event where everything kind of boils down to is WrestleMania. That is the one pay-per-view event that I just drop everything and watch. Everything else is like, all right, well, I'll just watch it to see Brock Lesnar fight or Undertaker fight. Because to me, let me see two wrestlers that I like. Every time they end a pay-per-view, I watch their matches, right? But other than that, everything else is just like, all right, well, he fighting, she fighting, she whatever. But WrestleMania, I don't play around with that, right? This is the event, the most the highly publicized event, and one of the big publicized matches I should say, is with Ronda Rousey,
right?
And her debut fight in the WWE. She teamed up with Kurt Angle, so they're both Olympic medalists and stuff like that. So they faced Triple H and his wife Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, what I saw is that she was dressed up like Roddy Piper.
Yes.
Yeah,
even right down to her logo had a Roddy Piper kind of inspiration stuff there going on. But nice, I was surprised too that she actually took shots at Triple H too, like really like pummeling him there, but in the chest, of course, not in the face, because we don't want to do that, right? But yeah, I totally enjoyed that fight too. It was pretty long, but it was goddamn brilliant. Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter, right? She defeated the Japanese import from NXT. Her name is Asuka, or Asuka as they call her. Defeated her, and I think she had like this 279 or 280 day winning streak. Like nobody could beat her. And then Charlotte Flair just basically come and just beat her, basically. Took that basically broke that streak now. And I like at the very end that they embrace each other. It's just like, well, it was a good fight, and they really came through, and can't really complain there. As well, another match that was highly publicized too was the return of Daniel Bryan as a in-ring performer, because because of his neck injury, he couldn't really perform anymore, so he was just doing managerial duties with Shane McMahon, for SmackDown. But then, he came out a few weeks ago saying, well, the doctors and a bunch of doctors say, well, he's medically fit and he could fight. So he did that. Well, him and Shane, basically what Shane was kind of messed up because, basically he had a hernia and some other thing. So he was more like clutching his ribs, clutching his stomach actually during the fight. There was a lot of pressure on him. And they defeated Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and the story angle they were playing is that both of them were taking shots at the managers themselves, and they can't do that, so they were threatening to fire those two. It's just like, well, we just gotta take out our rage on you guys. So fortunately, Shane did his best, but it was really Daniel who came through. And I was actually thinking that those guys were gonna get defeated now because they weren't at 100% at the game, but Daniel still came through, and this we gotta do. Or they chanted yes, as you always do, and you win. So I was surprised. One of the matches that I felt they could have taken out altogether, and I guess I kind of understand why they had this there, is John Cena and The Undertaker, man.
Right, I heard about this, yeah.
Like, I kind of get you want John Cena to be part of WrestleMania. He always finds some way to be there. I mean, he's not like The Rock right now. He hasn't reached Dwayne Johnson's level where he doesn't even need to show up in a pay-per-view. But somehow they had this story arc where he was basically calling out The Undertaker. And if you remember from last year, Roman Reigns had defeated The Undertaker, and it was like his quote-unquote final match now. So John Cena was like, well, it's WrestleMania, and the WWE universe needs to see you, Undertaker, so I'm throwing a challenge out to you. And no response. Like, literally, he would come to the ring and just call him out, and he would not show up. So same thing happened last Sunday. He waited for him, nothing happened, and then he was about to leave. Undertaker show up. He did the 5-minute entrance as he always does, And then, ironically, he beat him in like about under 3 minutes.
Right.
Like, under 3 minutes, Undertaker just beat John Cena. I'm like, so what was the point of all this? Like, what? I mean, it was. I mean, event itself was just running for so long already. But this was just filler, in my opinion. It just didn't really make any sense. Another fight that I felt was just filler was Braun Strowman, who is like the new Big Show. He's like the new giant now. He's the new Andre the Giant, basically, right? You know, with wrestling these days, you always have to have this big, strong guy that nobody could defeat because he's just too tall and he's too strong now, basically. So he is this new guy now. And he was facing off against the tag team of Cesaro and Sheamus. But the thing is that Braun didn't have a tag team partner. So the man literally like stopped everything, went into the audience, and was asking around people, "Hey, you wanna fight with me? You wanna fight with me?" And then he just like chose this random 12-year-old kid named Nicholas. Swear to God.
Yeah.
Brought him onto the ring and said, don't worry, Nicholas, don't worry, I can handle things, right? You just stand up behind the ring, man. You just handle it, right? Braun doing his stuff, and then all of a sudden the man tagged Nicholas. Nicholas coming, scared shitless. And then Braun like tag him back, so he go back outside. And then of course Braun beat the guys 1, 2, 3. He win. Everybody's all like, ha ha ha! This guy and this little kid beat you guys, you know. So that was like the big gimmick. Of course, but the real reason why I watched this was to see Brock Lesnar face Roman Reigns. That was the final match, and where I saw it, that was like roughly 11:45. This match started. I was like, God damn, Dread, so long. But kind of not surprising, but still unfortunate. Brock Lesnar beating Roman Reigns, and then I think the day afterwards, apparently some news came out that because people were thinking that Brock was going to eventually leave WWE, but apparently he signed some contract, so he's staying on, so he will kind of continue to hold that title. I think it's the Universal title that he has right now. And last but not least, apparently he's supposed to be going to Saudi Arabia at the end of the month. I know that I didn't even know about that till WrestleMania now. And yeah, both of them gonna be facing off again now, or at least Roman at the moment wants to try and take that title from Brock now. But the way how they spin it right now is just that Brock is just way stronger. He's way more faster than him, basically, and he's no match. Roman is no match for Brock. And yeah, but I mean, in a nutshell, here's the thing. Like I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, it was pretty entertaining, but I felt that the time of it, the duration of the entire event was just too much. Where, like, excluding the pre-show, of course, really 5 hours of wrestling. Like, I could stomach 3 hours. I could stomach 4 hours even. But not 5 hours. Not 5 hours.
Well, to me, I find, anything above 4 is a little ridiculous. Like, because Raw is what? 3, right?
Yeah, Raw is 3 hours, yeah.
Right, so exactly. So anything above that is like, well, you can understand WrestleMania being 4. It's WrestleMania. But 5 is a little too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know you didn't really check it out though. But what I was actually doing, I was actually like on Twitter, just because that's one thing I love to do, see how people respond to the event on Twitter. And really, the main match that everybody was talking about that people really walked out from feeling satisfied was the Ronda Rousey fight. That was like the big thing, you know.
Well, the big take from it as well was that how Rousey and Stephanie, they seem to have the working feud right now that seem to be replicating Austin versus McMahon back in the days.
Oh, right. That's a good.
That is what I kind of get from a lot of that now. So it's like, okay, that I don't know if they could be able to replicate that, but it could be interesting.
Yeah, it could. And I think that for her debut in-ring entrance or performance, I should say, I thought that Ronda really did a great job, man. She really sold me on it. And just from her UFC days and all that kind of stuff, it looks like she really does have the potential to make it, right? And just off of her name and her popularity alone, yes, I could see her just really growing into the WWE and just really having a great time there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one match I forgot to mention too. And this is going to lead into my first movie review. Well, yeah, my only movie review for this episode here. There was the 30-man Battle Royale for the Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy. This was the match that pretty much started off the pre-show. And your boy Matt Hardy won.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, he won. One thing with Matt Hardy right now at the moment, he's doing this really ridiculous gimmick where he's woke now. So he's like this really insane, crazy, kind of Matt Hardy character. And he has this gimmick where he just goes, delete, delete, delete. Personally, I don't like it. I just like the tough, badass Matt Hardy. You know, what him and what his brother Jeff does, are really not feeling the whole kind of gimmicky character stuff. But they working it in somehow into Raw, so it's like, well, alright, I guess this is here to stay. It's kind of funny, but kind of dumb at the same time, but I don't know, whatever, right? Everybody has to have a gimmick these days, because how else would you stand out these days, right, in wrestling?
Yeah.
Speaking of Andre the Giant, now I'm going to jump into the HBO Sports documentary called Andre the Giant, right? It is about the life and times of French professional wrestler Andre Rene Rossimoff. And really, for me now, like at the time now, like I wasn't into wrestling as such, so I always used to hear about Andre the Giant. I always used to hear about him now, but I never used to like follow his matches, because I mean, for a majority of the majority of the matches themselves were in the 80s, and I didn't really watch wrestling in the 80s. I was more introduced to it from the Raw as War era. Well, actually around the time when, you know, WCW, Monday Night Raw, Monday Night Nitro, and the Raw as War moments took place in wrestling, right? But as far as Andre the Giant goes, he was just one of those guys that I used to hear about alongside guys like, you know, Randy Savage and Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan, basically, right?
Well,
so they were the icons, but just not the people that I grew up with, you know?
Right. So for me, when I was really, really young, I used to get they used to have little VHS tapes of it. So that's how I knew Hulk Hogan. With the early stuff, they used to have VHS tapes. You used to just watch it. You didn't have access, but you could just watch it on tape. That's why I know Andre the Giant from since then. You know, the famous WrestleMania 3.
Yes. Which I will talk about, yeah.
Yeah, where Hulk lift him up and slam him. It's like, oh, that's a big deal, you know, at the time.
Yes, it was.
Anyway, but that's how I know the character. And then, of course, Princess Bride.
Yes.
You know, that's how... so it's all of that, yeah.
Yeah, well, that to me, that was my first introduction to him, actually, through The Princess Bride, right? Famous 1987 movie directed by Rob Reiner. Timeless. You know, classic combination of fairy tale romance with adventure and comedy and just feel goodness, right? You know, it's a great movie, right? No denying that. But that movie was literally my first introduction to Andre the Giant, right? It's similar to when Predator came out, and I didn't even know who Jesse Ventura was there. It's like, oh shit, this guy's a wrestler. Okay, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just through 80s movies that I kind of got introduced to some wrestlers. I think it was around in the 90s actually that I saw Hulk Hogan in a movie. I can't remember what movie it was. I think it was like Suburban Commando or one of them kind of cheesy movies.
I remember that movie.
One of those shows. But then of course how they brought him into the WWF at the time. You know, when he had the black clothes on and he was with the NWO and all that kind of stuff. That was when I was like, oh, okay, that's who he is. All right, cool. But about Andre the Giant, right? So this movie is basically your standard documentary, right? Which is you have your talking heads. They are narrating the story. They are telling you everything about his life. His upbringings in France. He was, well, not to spoil too much, but you know, he just came from humble beginnings. But around 15, around that age basically, was when like his family and relatives realized that there was something up with him physically. You know, he was a lot taller than everybody else. He was a lot stronger. He weighed more than everybody else. And then, you know, he just actually decided, well, here's what. Well, through a really amazing circumstance, I'm not going to spoil, he actually said, hey, I'm actually going to try wrestling, right? So he did some wrestling gigs here, there, you know, just traveling from town to town. And then eventually realized, well, you know what, I am literally too big for this scope of wrestling here. So I need to go to the States. I need to really pursue my dreams. And he did that. And he was just going from, you know, doing shows during the 70s. And I love how in this movie here, they explain how wrestling used to be in the 70s, where basically every state had their own wrestling division, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It was only until Vince McMahon took over, then he started amalgamating how things should play out. Like Vince.
Yeah, well, Vince McMahon Jr.
Vince McMahon Jr. is a pretty shitty person. Like when you actually get into the nasty business practices, it's some really insidious stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to give credit where credit is due. The man is a genius, right? In terms of mogul genius in terms of how he was able to take wrestling and put it on cable TV and just expand it and make it into this global phenomenon, right? Which is also talked about in this movie, right? So eventually he worked with Vince McMahon Senior. That was with I think it's either the New York or the Pittsburgh state, basically. Well, they're wrestling. And then eventually, his popularity started to skyrocket. Everybody just came far and wide to see this giant, this large.
Yeah, I think because it's until not until Big Show that you had a person that size.
Yes, exactly, yeah. Oh, and as I say, that Big Show was actually the first winner of that Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy. He won it a few years ago, right? So we cut to the 80s now, and Andre is like within the wrestling circuit, he is this celebrity, right? Everybody wanted to see him, everybody not wanted to be him, but everybody just admired this guy. And he just had this larger than life presence, and there are some interviews with wrestlers and wrestling personalities. Of course, you see guys like Hulk Hogan, you see Pat Patterson, you see Ric Flair, Tim White, who was his manager, I believe it was. Yes, he was his manager. Assistant turned manager, actually, right?
Right.
And they were all just talking. And, the one thing that just spin with him is that because he was such a large and life figure, there was a mythology about him. There were certain myths about him. So for one thing, the man could outdrink anybody. Like the man used to drink 6 bottles of wine and 60 beers and all that kind of stuff. And
it's a big
tipsy. It was incredible. So just hearing these hearing these people tell all these stories and all these unbelievable stories. Even Vince McMahon Jr. and all talking about moments with him, and it's like with a smile on the face there. It's like real amazing there. But of course, they touch on the fact that because of his condition, which they eventually learned was giantism, right?
Yeah.
Which is where his body physically was growing bigger, but then it was kind of like crushing his organs, basically. It was crushing his bones.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of that's always be a problem for anybody that big.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it started to do damage eventually to his knees and to his back, to his spine in particular. And then he even touched on this sad moment, a number of sad moments actually, during the production of The Princess Bride, where he was too weak to do physical stuff. So, for one scene, for example, where Robin Wright's character, Princess Buttercup, was falling down, they literally had to kind of harness her down for him to grab her, when she fell. Right. And that's real sad though, because and then the next thing about him too is that he was pretty much trying to hide it from people. He didn't really tell everybody about what was going on with him physically, because yes, he appreciated the fame and all that kind of stuff, but deep down inside, he was getting weaker, And then things get even sadder too when he realizes too that people are talking behind his back, they're laughing at him. It's like, just teasing him basically because of his size and because, how that affects his daily life. Like, for example, when he's traveling, when he goes, when he's on a plane, basically. Pat himself touched on a kind of embarrassing moment, which involves him using the restroom. Well, he can't do that now because he's too big. So literally they had to pull the curtain, and then he had to do his business in a bucket. Then they had to throw that into the toilet now. So that's real sad and embarrassing at the same time now. And just him having to deal with it now. So of course his escape was alcohol, and then of course wrestling. He just kept on doing shows and just wrestling and getting money and all that kind of stuff. But it was to detriment to his life and to his health, and of course, to his family as well too. Because one thing that they reveal here is that he actually had a daughter. Didn't even know that, right? But unfortunately, he couldn't be in her life because he just felt like he just had to go on the road. He had to keep on wrestling. And then, of course, they touch into where Vince Jr. actually decided to bring wrestling into cable TV, and that's where he started the WWF. And people now got to see these nationwide shows on TV for the first time, and it was really amazing, And it just had a wide roster of performers there. Of course, Andre was there. And then from there, they brought in Hulk Hogan. who used to fight with him. They did face off before, but what was really interesting is that, you know, the public, or at least the people who were watching WWF at the time, never saw these two fight, right? So it's like, okay, well, they were just there in the show doing their due, but then because of what was going on with Andre's health and him kind of slowly realizing that, hey, I might eventually die, and this might really, or basically just saying that there's not much more I can really do in terms of wrestling. So if I had to end things off, I might as well end it with a bang. And here's where we get into that famous WrestleMania 3 fight, that confrontation between Hulk Hogan and Andre. And they talk about how they hyped it up, how they literally had to turn Andre into heelness. So he wasn't the hero anymore, he was the bad guy, because he had to make Hulk look good. I applaud the film's bravery in showing that, you know, because yes, some people doesn't like to think about it, but it's true now. I'd be hard pressed to find anybody above the age of, say, 15 who doesn't know that wrestling is scripted, mostly scripted. Right? But I love how, you know, like Hulk and them was talking about, well, here's what we had to do, here's how we had to spin it. I had to cry at this moment here, so I put some rub in my eye, you know, like that.
Right, but it's the old, you know, you ever heard that, you ever see that video online, it's still real to me, damn it.
Yeah.
That dude, that's what it is. It's, you know, it's how a lot of people who just hold on to that shit in the most insane way. Whatever.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, they just talk about, well, how we spin this out and that kind of thing, and what I had to do if he had to rip my shirt, if I had, and Hulk was saying, I wanted to shed that one tear, man. Just wanted to shed that one tear. I had some vapor rub, put it in my eye.
Right.
All that kind of stuff there. So I like how he went so in depth into it now, right? But then when they got to the actual fight itself, right? Not to spoil everything, but that's one little minor spoiler. You know, Hulk himself had written out how the match was gonna play out. Like the man took up a sheet of paper, wrote down everything that was going to happen except how the finishing move was going to be, and hand Vince that and say, that's what we're gonna do. But in the back of Hogan's head now, he was just like, well, he was expecting that he would lose. But Andre was just like, don't worry. And this was like real frustrating Hulk now. And then, of course, when the match actually starts, while the match is going on, well, Andre tell him, well, hey, body slammer. You could do it, just body slammer. And then he did it, and then he do that leg drop, and the rest is history.
And Andre sold it so well, I thought.
I know, right?
Given his size, yeah.
Yeah, he really did sell it though, yeah. And then, well, just to get to the end of the story, even more tragic now is how his career pretty much waned off because of that, because he had to be a heel, because he had to be a villain. People didn't really look at him the same way again. Now Hulk Hogan is a hero, and I mean, I understand it's the whole passing of the torch thing, but it's just really sad that, you know, that Andre's career never really picked up because of that. And unfortunately, he died in France, actually, in I believe it was February 20-something, I can't remember when, in 1993, you know. And it's just really sad, really unfortunate how his career just went downhill after that match, though.
Yeah.
Really sad. But yeah, for me though, this I learned so much about Andre. Like I said, I didn't really know much about him except his appearances. Oh, speaking of appearance, right? I didn't even know the man was in the $6 million manager.
Okay, I didn't know
he played a Sasquatch. It is one of the most hilarious things you will ever see in your life. It is hilarious.
I don't know. I really don't know that.
And I never watched him $6 million man before, but I want to watch that show.
That's a show that I only know, like, about, you know, I only know the opening.
Yeah, I know it through pop culture references.
And then a couple episodes I watch on SyFy in syndication, but that's about it.
Yeah. Right, but yeah, I learned a lot about him. I learned about, you know, his life, his the mythology surrounding him as well too, and just seeing people like I say, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. You even see Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not surprised. You even mention
because there's a great picture with him. Yeah, you could find this great picture with I think Andre Giant.
Right.
I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and then Arnold standing next to each other, and Arnold looking so tiny compared to the two of them.
I should look up that though. That's
I think it's that.
Yeah. You see Rob Reiner, you see Billy Crystal, and you even see Robin Wright, who of course worked on The Princess Bride, right? And just hearing these stories about this man, really added a lot to the movie. Also, they use a lot of archival footage. Not surprised. Some really rare footage of him, like when he was doing his shows in France and when he was doing his early shows, like in the 70s, leading up to the 80s and stuff like that. And seeing Vince Jr. talk about it. You even see his son Shane, but just for a couple of scenes actually. But Vince was there. Even in emotional moments, I was watching him. I was like, all right, this guy gonna break down, he gonna cry, and you could tell he was trying to hold back, but he was good. He was great to break, Jen. At that last part where he dies and stuff like that. But as far as sports documentaries go, I really enjoyed it. The music, I would say, really, really surprised me. It was very, very emotional, very cinematic in a well. It really added a layer to the myths that they were really creating around, around Andre himself, or trying to replicate the mythology around him. And for me, he is this kind of larger-than-life mythological character. Person, I should say, a human being. I love how they brought so much depth into him that, eventually you do feel sorry for him.
Right.
Seeing him as this big guy and doing this stuff is like, all right, well, he's a sideshow, whatever, but the depth and that, the humanity that they really express here really show that there's more to him than that. I really love the movie for that.
Yeah, the picture is with Will Chamberlain, not
Will Chamberlain. Okay.
Will Chamberlain, yeah. Because I noticed, I was watching Arnold Schwarzenegger's Twitter, and how he said he loved the documentary itself.
Oh, okay, well that's great. That's great. Because I really enjoyed this documentary as well too. Even if you are not a wrestling fan, there's so much here to enjoy. Because he was more than wrestling. There was more to him. Yeah.
He's one of those that you really, it's something that in the olden days of sideshow attractions.
Yeah.
Look at the Giant Man, blah blah blah.
Exactly.
But you're such a great person, just as a personality. He was just such a great guy in general. You always got that sense from it. And I could imagine. I should have made the effort to go see this documentary, but I can imagine he's a person that just totally deserves to be seen and heard of in that sense.
Of course, yeah. So while I would say that this show doesn't really do much, it's not the most innovative documentary I've ever seen. Like, I'm not gonna say every documentary that I have seen or will see, with the exception of OJ Made in America, is gonna top it. But as far as sports documentaries go, I really enjoy this, and I would strongly recommend this to anybody who even if you're not a fan of wrestling, I still say give this one a look. You will learn a lot about this really amazing person. And just his legacy there, so for me, I give this a very light 4 to 5 stars, man. I really, really enjoy this one. If you're a wrestling buff, you need to see this one. If you're not a wrestling buff, like I said, please give this one a look. As far as sports documentaries go, it's one of the best that I've seen in quite some time. So I strongly recommend Andre the Giant.
Nice, man.
All right, so moving along from TV, now we're gonna get to home media. So you saw Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay, which is the latest movie from DC / Warner Brothers Animation. It's a rated R affair. I saw
it is definitely
some real risky stuff, real trying to push that envelope, because I know they're doing that a lot these days with the animated films. But how was the movie in general?
I really enjoyed it, actually. Didn't expect to enjoy it.
Is it as good as the Batman Suicide Squad movie that I really enjoyed as well?
Or Assault on Arkham?
Yeah, Assault on Arkham.
I actually prefer it to Assault on Arkham. I know a lot of people really love that movie, but I don't like it as much, simply because the plot just became so silly on its own face.
Oh.
That's my problem with that movie.
It's dumb fun, but I like it.
No, but that was my problem with the movie, is that it was taking itself so seriously, and then when they explained what was going on, it's like, wait, she couldn't just do this, and she needed the whole Suicide Squad just for that? That was my problem with it. This movie now, I liked more because of what the big twist is, and I dare not sell that out.
Please
it's not the biggest twist, but it's pretty cool when they reveal what was going on. Basically, okay, so the story is this. Deadshot now is, on another mission.
Right.
You have to, I forget what you had to find. It was I think a list of names or something like that in the beginning. And it had this big double twist involving, I think it was the Trickster and his girl.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot who I didn't really follow who they were. And they had to take down Tobias Whale, Tobias Whale is the big villain in Black Lightning right now. By the way, Black Lightning is By the way, Black Lightning is going actually pretty good, eh?
Yeah,
I should talk about this. We'll talk about that when
the season finale is actually this week at the time of this recording here.
Yeah.
So we'll try to remember it for the next episode.
Right. So is this they had to take on Tobias Will on a train. It's a really like super violent encounter. It's a lot of fighting, action, blah blah blah. They take him down, and then they have a big double twist, reveal involving a couple characters, and then Amanda Waller susses out what the situation is, and Deadshot comes back home. So now Deadshot has a new mission where he has to find a card, and it's not clear what the card is. Some card from Amanda Waller, and I could just spoil one thing involving the character because they explain one thing that I had a big issue with in the trailer, which is they have Tin Waller. A lot of people don't like Tin Waller for some reason, right?
Oh, okay.
Amanda Waller need to look big.
I like the big Amanda Waller from.
Not necessarily fat per se, but she has to look, kind of just a little slightly overweight. So to me,
when she was in Justice League, like she had to look like that.
Right. But even not in necessarily Justice League, but I thought she was perfect in the Suicide Squad movie.
Yes.
She's the one thing I really, really liked in that movie. I thought they got her perfect.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, but in this, they explain why she's very, very thin. They explain it.
Okay.
Then they explain a couple plot characters who's in the... So basically, this movie is kind of loosely based on Secret Six. That is one of the more popular Suicide Squad stories. They have Vandal Savage's daughter in it. She's part of the plot. Scandal Savage. They have... they do a little something kind of interesting with the character, although it was known in the comic anyway. And then they had, a main player in the storyline is the Reverse Flash.
Oh, really?
And you're wondering what the hell going on with that guy. And because in this, he shouldn't be able to suss out the story, and he's a villain and the antagonist in this. He's the main antagonist in this. But then you're wondering, wait, why isn't he this fast? Something is going wrong with him. And I might slightly spoil it here, but basically what they did with this to me is they basically did a much more coherent, smarter version of the season 2 Legends of Tomorrow. That is all I'll say.
Oh, you mean with the Legion of Doom episode?
Right. But mostly involving Reverse Flash. Like what was going on with him in that season.
Right.
It's something very similar. But when they reveal what it is, it's pretty goddamn awesome. I didn't expect it. I thought it was pretty cool. Animation. Pretty good. You could tell that they didn't have a budget. Not as bad as what was going on in
Gotham by Gaslight.
Right, yeah. Not as bad as that.
Right.
Because but still you could tell. And then as I said, they rated our aspect of things. It's pretty edgy, like 90s edgelord bullshit, so you can kind of dismiss a lot of it. But some of it's fine, and I enjoyed it for what it was. The action was pretty awesome. They had a bunch of good characters. It kind of went nowhere with a couple of little plot lines and plot threads, but I didn't really care. I suppose they could have trimmed down the film and cut out a couple parts involving Deadshot's daughter, because Deadshot and his daughter is that's all Deadshot's impetus is generally in the storyline, right? Him trying
although I kind of wish they probably could give him something else to be motivated by, but anyway.
Right, but that is generally his impetus anyway. They did it in the movie, and they did it in this again. They almost never stray away from that on average.
Right.
And they just had the usual cast of characters in the Suicide Squad, but they brought in some cool characters. This time they brought in I forget the character's name, but it was Killer Frost. It was Harley Quinn, of course. They brought in a character, Bronze Tiger, which is basically I won't say a Black Panther, but he's basically one of the best martial artists in the world. He's more akin to Iron Fist.
I was actually thinking about that character as a comparison there.
Right. And I thought he was great in it. What they do with him, I actually really enjoyed. And then they just had all the big players involving. Well, the big players was Vandal Savage. It was basically a big three-way with Reverse Flash versus Vandal Savage versus Amanda Waller, and all of their forces culminating in a really, really cool finale and a big reveal that was pretty awesome. I cannot sell out. And I enjoyed it for the most part. I had a lot of fun with this. So my usual contemporaries, they seem to not like it anywhere near as much as I did. But yeah, I thought this was great. I give this a pretty high score.
All right, cool.
I strongly recommend it, actually. I won't put it as high as Gods and Monsters, but it's pretty up there. And between this and Gotham and Gaslight, I kind of glad that DC animation on the upswing, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people didn't really care. I have a couple friends on the usual forum stuff that didn't seem to care for it as much as I did, and they keep insisting that it was better than Assault on Arkham. That was not better than Assault on Arkham. But for me, the reason why I saw Assault on Arkham, I couldn't take that so seriously is because of when the reveal what was going on, like what Amanda Waller was after. It's like, wait, what? You could have just do this, whatever.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. Some people may not enjoy it as much, but I strongly recommend it. I really, really like this movie. Mostly because of what it did with Reverse Flash. That was pretty goddamn awesome. And that's about it.
All right. Well, keeping with DC for a minute here, now we're gonna jump to the CW. We'll just talk briefly about the season finale, or I guess the whole season 3, if you will, of Legends of Tomorrow.
Right, because they're pretty right. So what they basically did, with Legends this season is that they put Supergirl on a back burner, hiatus wise, and then replaced it with Legends.
Yeah, which I kind of, I was really disappointed by this, honestly, because it started back the show earlier this year, and they just stop it when it's February because we have to bring in Black Lightning, and Black Lightning have to coincide with the release of Black Panther. Haha, get it? And it's almost like we just forget about Supergirl. But from what I know, right
Supergirl,
after...
I just gone straight up say it, Supergirl has been kind of sucking this season anyway.
Oh, what I was going to say actually is that, Supergirl is actually restarting. I believe it's... not this week, but it's right after Black Lightning ends. Like, as soon as that
pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much it. But the thing is, I really didn't miss it because, Supergirl this season, I thought they kind of bungling.
I'll see what again at, but
I didn't really care. Like, I really hope that they reshoot a lot of stuff or at least get the writing right, because they just kind of, they kind of aimless right now. Whatever.
Yeah.
Season 3 for Legends of Tomorrow has been pretty interesting. Not necessarily not as awesome as season 2, but still pretty good. But I'll say again, it has been a bit aimless. The main story I kind of like, but I don't love all that much. Involving the main villain Miloš.
Yeah.
They decided to go in a more magical direction with things, so they decided to bring Constantine, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yes.
This was the season where they decided to get rid of the Firestorm character, they kill off Stein, and then Jax leaves the show outright, which comes back later on, which was kind of pointless, but whatever.
I know. Like why exactly?
Right. They bring in they focus a lot on Rip's new group, which is let's call them again, basically just Men in Black type group.
Yeah, but they deal with anachronisms, like
they just
weird
kind of
occurrences in time and stuff.
Right, they just do general janitorial work. They had Sarah have a relationship with the leader, the new leader of that group, because Rip got ousted because he's breaking too many rules. Actually, I thought they did that reasonably well, and they have a nice big twist to her character. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I love how they realistically approach their relationship. The time borrow. That's the name of it.
The time. Yeah.
What I would say though, like the whole thing with Miloš. Sorry. This personal nitpick, I felt that from the first half of the season, they were hyping this guy up as to be like this big, gigantic evil threat, and there's no way you could stop him. But then when you see him, I'll forgive Warner Television for the budget here. But like when you see Miloš himself, it's like, okay, this is the big.
Yeah, his design was kind of bad.
Yeah, like when you hear him and it's John Noble of all people,
right? Which you do a nice call back to.
Yeah. His voice is much more commanding and much more scary than when you see Miloš. I love the episode, by the way, with centered on John Noble. I think the title is guest starring John Noble. Great episode there. And one thing I really like about this season here, which they have been perfecting since season 2, is these like going and seeing all these like famous characters. So there's an episode about Elvis. There's an episode, although I felt they could have done more with it with Barack Obama. I love how they really branch out of that from what they did last season with Steven Spielberg and all that kind of stuff. That was really cool.
This season, because of the whole anachronism thing, they got to play a lot with it. Like I like what they did with Helena Troy. That was clever.
Yeah, that was
they introduced a couple. They introduced some new characters with what's her name, boy, Zari. I thought she's a pretty cool character for the most part. She's not winning me over fully yet, but I actually like her a lot.
Yeah. I kind of like her cynicism. It's kind of cute.
Yeah,
sarcasm, sorry.
It makes sense, yeah. It makes sense why she is the way she is and this kind of stuff. And well, they focus on Amaya, and thought it was great that they focused so much on Amaya in this season. Her art was great.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoyed what they did with her. And she's a great actress on average.
Yeah. I'd agree too. Who plays Vixen. Yeah. And one thing I really like too is how they brought back Kid Flash. They give him a reason to still exist on TV.
Yeah, that was the big check with this season that, all right, they have to justify, because they had to move Wally from one show to the other. Everybody thought Wally was maybe going to Teen Titans, but we're not sure. But they had to give him something to do. And they did it. So they decided, all right, let us have him be on Legends of Tomorrow. And he kind of replaces, you have him come in right after Stein leaves the show, right?
Yes.
So he kind of serves that purpose. Basically, he's the new Firestorm, or that you need a really good powered person to help out now. So he's a speedster, and they have him make him work in that way. But the main focus I like what they did was Dark and his daughter.
I thought that was really great though. And the actress who plays her though, I really thought that she sold it.
Yeah, Dark and his daughter. The daughter's great. The daughter is Brandon Routh's wife in real life. So they had great chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would explain why there's that relationship between them.
Right.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
But
I like with Damien though, especially when he's on Legends. He has a great sense of humor, but goddamn, there is one episode where one of my favorite episodes. Well, sorry to cut you. One of my favorite episodes is them going back in time to stop Damien himself from assassinating some guy. I thought that was an excellent episode, and just the humor that Damien had in this was just spot on. Though I loved it.
Yeah. They made a lot of it work. I'll still say I didn't like this season as much as season 2. I thought season 2 was so clever and so well done for the most part. Like season 2, it has the inversion of season 2 for me. So I love almost all of season 2, and I didn't really care for the end.
Reverse Flash there and what they do with that. So yeah,
exactly. I thought that was really, really clever and really well done. But I say I liked most of season 2, and I didn't care for the ending. I find the finale was a little rushed. But with this is the opposite. With this is the opposite. I didn't really care for this season all that much. But I love the finale. The finale was great.
Yeah.
I love what they did with the finale. I thought that ending was so brilliant and really clever.
Yes.
For what it was now.
It's the
most Legends thing now. Like, it's just, it's a great callback to the story. It makes perfect sense in the narrative. And then they just bring it back, and it's like, yeah, that makes some sense given what they had to do.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun with that ending. They brought back Jax, which was a little rushed, so I didn't understand why they did that.
And kind of pointless too. Is like, oh, hey, remember me, guys? Hey,
right.
That's like, what it felt like. The whole Bebo and Malice, or shit. Let me just call it Malice, right? So the whole Bebo and Malice fight, I thought was well handled for by Legends of Tomorrow standards. Right. And it was just so clever. It was so fun at the same time. Like, literally, I just had this ridiculous smile on my face watching this thing. I really, really enjoyed that.
Everybody make the joke, humanity has peaked, pack it up. Like, you're not going to get better than this. I thought it was pretty funny and really clever and awesome, because it was such a great callback to the old Bebo bit that it did which first half of the season.
The first half, the end of the first half they did that.
Right. And because remember, Bebo changed time, and they had the whole thing, and they brought back that character. That was Leif Erikson's sister.
Yes.
They brought back that character, and they have it where, well, all right, she wanted to worship Malice, and now Bebo go and kick his ass, so she worshiping Bebo again, which makes sense.
That was funny.
Yeah, they did. I really like this season for the most part. And then they decided to say, okay, they want to go in a more magical direction, which I don't really have a big problem with, frankly. Because the guy who plays John Constantine, he's great. I really like that guy.
Every time he comes on, it's a shame that they cancel his show, but I'm glad that they give him. They give him a spot on Legends. Like, I realize Legends is the one place where, all right, if we throw away a character, we could find a little
to amalgamate and make it work. And because these people, I think all these people deserve work anyway. So, it's not, Legends is the perfect space to go with this. So I don't know where they're going to go with season 4. Yeah. But I really like this season for the most part.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it.
I still have a speculation that we will see Hawkgirl and Hawkman again. I know a lot of people did not like them. I really don't want that to happen. I just have a sneaky suspicion that you'll bring them back. Because they had them in season 1 and then they're just going to throw them away just like that. If you did that with Rip Hunter, and they brought him back, right? Oh, yes. And then what they do with Rip Hunter, it's like, well.
They decide to quote-unquote kill off Rip.
Yeah.
But once they mention all that magic shit, it's like, well, yeah, Rip could totally come back anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
the thing of the show is that just to expand it, just quick aside to expand on your Hawk argument. The Hawk argument is that if I remember correctly, they made mention of that in season 1, where the Hawks outright invaded Earth, or they were aliens, and they're doing a push that entirely now. So I don't know if you remember Justice League. They had something along those lines now, so they could do something kind of like that. But
I think I remember it from the cartoon, yeah.
Right. So most maybe not. Oh no, was it the Dominators? I can't remember.
But can't remember.
Because it was, I think, Vandal Savage protected Earth against an alien invasion, and because he was in charge of Earth, that is why the Time Masters did what they did and helped him out. Whatever. Right. But the point is, why this season I enjoyed mostly because of the character interactions. Everybody had it. The plot itself wasn't too coherent and cogent as what it did in season 2, but I really like what it did with the characters. Citizen Steel was great in this season.
Oh yes, yes.
Him and Amaya and their arc I thought really, really worked. Sarah and what's her name? The girl who charge her thing.
Forget her name, but I thought that they had great chemistry together.
Their relationship as well. I thought that was good. And
I love how that arc played out too. It played out in a, I would say, quote unquote realistic fashion. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
No, but they did a good job with her character, and when they explained where she come from and what her origin story was, and that's pretty cool on its own right. Zari herself, I thought she had a great working arc as well, because she had to come to terms with a lot of her life and history, and then the totem stuff. I thought that was great. What else? Well, Clint Flash himself, he's still a little perfunctory, but I still enjoyed. Hopefully they'll give him something more later down, because again, a speedster is ridiculously overpowered and should solve most problems. But what the purpose of the speedster is to justify why characters in certain places and where and when, and then they'll take him out of commission when they need to. Whatever.
Yeah, but I like how they throw jabs at him. Do is like, well, you don't need to do this. Oh, I just did it. That kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. What I would say though, just for me with this whole season here, I enjoyed it as well. It does still feel rather ambitious at times, they're doing a lot, and it could feel kind of overwhelming at times for me.
Right, because you could tell that they didn't really know where they was going with a lot of it, and so they had to tie together stuff and have it make a lot of sense. But then they decided, all right, focus on the totems and then justify how the totems was involved in the defeat of Miloš the first time. They had the whole death totem thing with Sarah. I love all of that, and then they made it work coming down to the end by saying, oh, okay, this is what they did, and they, this is how the original totem people failed, because the death totem wasn't there, and then Sarah comes to the end and solves the problem in the end. And I thought I really like a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then they had Damon Dark sacrifice himself, so most likely Dark's daughter might be joining the Legends. We're not sure.
I kind of doubt it, but hey, we'll see.
But she and Ray had pretty good chemistry. Yes, and again, they decide to switch up the roster once again. And again, this is I keep calling this show basically the American Doctor Who. It's all about switching up things every season, right?
Yeah.
And that is how I see it. And yeah,
right. Just one last thing that I felt they could have done better. The reintroduction of Leonard Snart. I felt that was just there for to tie into the invasion. Not the invasion, sorry. That the Earth X crossover event. No, but I thought, let's bring him here. But after 3 episodes, you just decide to go back home. It's what's the point? I didn't really feel that. I thought that was pretty clumsy on average. But then again, I thought a lot of Earth X was pretty clumsy on average as well. It was, yeah. And I don't want to say, well, maybe that was why, they would try to lead into Jack's leaving. I don't think so at all.
Right.
It was just well, let's see what happens if we bring back Captain Cool. Okay, we don't need Captain Cool. All right, cool. Bye. That's
the problem, yeah. It just came and went, and it didn't work. And the new version of the character wasn't funny. It wasn't working chemistry-wise with him and Heatwave. Heatwave is great with Zari.
Yes. I love... Their chemistry. Well,
because Zari had a great episode with where they did this kind of weird time loop.
Yeah, the Groundhog Day thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the time / simulation thing, and I thought that was pretty clever. And that had they did that to justify why she would stay in the show and do all of that character wise.
Yeah.
And they made it work. I have a lot of fun with the show. I know a lot of people the show either will have you or it'll completely lose you. It's just the nature of the show.
But even if it does lose you, I love how self-aware it is. Just here's what.
Exactly.
Just forget about it. It's just we have to stop this guy. Boom. That's
exactly.
It.
And especially I don't like to bring up the movies, but because especially in the light of the movies failing in the way they did, just seeing it so self-aware and making it work in that sense, you really embrace the show now. I can imagine people a couple years from now, even a little further from that, will like say, why the show totally suck, why anybody like this? But I don't understand how entertainment is working that way. It's like, yeah, the reason why it works so well is because, and why it was well received right now is because, yeah, the movie sucked. And people was like, it just had a huge blowback towards that whole taking yourself too serious bullshit now. So, I don't know. That's about it. Nothing else, anything else about the show?
No, that's it. Just looking forward for season 4.
You're right. In the meantime, this is the first of the finales. We'll follow up on.
Right, I was just about to say that. So Black Lightning is this week. Supergirl is starting back. Flash started back behind my back. I didn't even notice until literally a couple of days ago. So I actually watch the episode and see what I missed. And yeah, I mean, DC TV has been doing well so far. But as far as the movies go, though, on the other hand, I don't really know.
Well, we only have Aquaman coming up later in the year, so ever.
Yeah, but no talk about Aquaman yet. No hype around it. So
I see nothing. I see no trailer. So that way I done dismiss that already. I don't write down for.
You know.
You know, with the DC TV, Flash has this season. I've been enjoying this season, but I had some weird issues with it. That again is one of those things that you can either hold you or lose you. But Flash now going, like, I think creatively it's going in the direction I want it to go. Like with season 5, like they're really like starting to plant little seeds already now. For what season 5 could hopefully be. And I really want to see how they're gonna do with the villain right now. Again, I think they're mucking up a couple things with the villain, but whatever, it's going fine. They still have enough time to fix a lot of this.
Well, not to spoil anything, but just one thing I don't like about the villain is he hopping from one meta to another.
Too much.
I'm not feeling that at all.
If he did it just once or twice, it would have been fine. But it happened a little too much. I think that killed the character.
Like stop that shit. Pick up
right.
Again,
a little too
stick with that, right? Please, yeah.
But the thing is, well, anyway, they're wrapping up that again. Black Lightning will see finale. That Black Lightning has started slowly for me, but around episode 8, it's gotten really, really well. Like I really, really enjoyed everything from episode 8 on to now. It's really surprised what they're doing with it. So I really want to see what they're going to do with the finale.
All right.
That's about it. I don't watch Arrow, so.
Well, all right. Well, I watch. You see. How can I not forget Arrow, right? So Arrow is kind of hit or miss at the moment, but more hits than misses in my opinion. What they're trying to do here, basically, like if I could sum it up in the whole team, it's family, right?
Right.
So it's about certain family members, like both real and part of a team, either staying with you or leaving for some reason. So like the Arrow team is split now, and there's a possibility that more people might leave the Arrow team and all that kind of stuff. And then one of the villains had some going on with his family. So it's all this team about family now, about characters showing back up as, oh, we're family and now we have to leave again. But the problem I'm having is that it feels like with the previous seasons of Arrow, it always had like, okay, best way to describe it is like this. There's always like one narrative thread throughout a season, right?
Right.
Something that's holding everything together. And every once in a while, they could pause and have different, subplots basically there. And those subplots could make up an episode or a 2-part or whatever like that. Arrow does that, but it feels like 3 or 4 or like a whole chunk of the season is about one story, and then it stops, and then something else springs up from that, and then that stops, and then something else springs up. So it doesn't feel all too focused there. But the team of family is still there. So I'm thinking, okay, this is the team that they're getting at. So in long story short, it feels almost like it's a whole bunch of stories that they just push into this one season there, without anything really tying them together. That's the problem. But I still think it's a team of family that's holding everything together, but it just needs to come together at the very end. And I hope that they do that. I hope they don't fall apart and be like, well, okay, well, the last 3 episodes was about this villain, so you'll end things off with that villain and forget about everything else that happened before, and that's it. So like I say, pretty hit or miss, but more hits and misses. But I still watch it.
Okay, cool.
All right, so moving along now to, well, now we still stick into TV. The SyFy channel.
Yeah.
The season 3 premiere of
Yeah, so earlier this year we saw the premiere of Krypton, which isn't going that badly. It's actually going okay. In fact, it's actually a little better than I expected it to be. So stay tuned for a lot of more that. But
that's kind of reassuring. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, they're actually doing this. Okay. And this is what's going on. Okay, that kind of clever. And the acting is pretty good. And I really, again, if it wasn't for the movies like completely ruining that whole aesthetic and approach, I'd have been a bigger fan of this. Like if Man of Steel never existed, or if they made those movies better, because the idea was to make something akin to like a kind of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the MCU, right?
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, show going okay. Small thing. Time to talk about the show that we really want to talk about. That's The Expanse. Yes. We have now season 3 premiere. I don't read the books, but from what I understand, it's in the middle of the second book right now, narrative-wise.
So it's an ongoing series of books then?
Yeah, it's basically SyFy Game of Thrones, That's what it is.
Oh, really?
Okay. That's how I compare it. It's very comparable to Game of Thrones. There's all these multiple players and factions and so on.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like two groups of people, characters.
Basically. Not 2 groups. It's like 3 major players. But I'll say 2 groups: Earth versus Mars, and then the third group, which is the boy called the Belters. And it's just basically for territory and control of the solar system. And then they have this thing going on, which is something that come from outside the solar system. That's basically proving that aliens exist. So it's implied that that's the situation. Whatever. I don't read the books at all. I actually avoided the books because I want to see the story via the show.
Right. Agreed.
Doesn't matter.
Understood. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So season 3 now picks up almost immediately from the events of the end of season 2, where one of the main characters, this is a character played by Shoria Agdashlu. This is Alpha Sarala.
I remember her.
She is in a lot of trouble now. She was hunted down by some like real shenanigans involving Earth, and she wanted to investigate a mystery, and then they wanted to kind of cover up that because it's implied that it's a weapon that was built, and they would kind of sell them out as these big criminals essentially. They essentially set up a plot to assassinate her, but she had on hand a Marine from Mars by the name of Gunny. That's a nickname. I forget her real name right now. It's slipping my mind. She's a gunnery sergeant from Mars, and basically the whole episode is just them basically doing the Die Hard thing and having to escape from the ship. Ooh. And that was pretty much the premiere right there. It's pretty awesome. Right. And then they continue
sounds awesome.
Yeah, and then they continue from the events of the last season, where you get to see so the big plot device, this what we call the proto-molecule, a creature like it was on the ship, in the main good guy ship, the Rocinante, and this is the Holden and all the main characters we've been following from since the beginning. They had to kill off this creature, and they had to get rid of this proto-molecule because it's very infectious towards life now. It's like turn life into this weird cancer thing and consciousness, and we're not really sure what's going on exactly. But they had to scrub the ship you have to burn it like with intense heat. And they had to scrub the ship. They had to spend the whole episode scrubbing the ship of this thing. And then they had to wipe their own plates because basically they're hunted by everybody now. Because one of the characters decided to give the proto-molecule weapon, which was established in the earlier seasons, to her own group of people, which is the Belters. We call the Belters. This is people who occupy the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Right. Most of these people are underclass, very poor. A lot of human rights issues happen to them, so they end up joining up on their own thing. And original Earth Marine or Earth Soldier end up becoming a de facto leader of sorts. So they decide a character called Fred Johnson. This guy is the guy, he's played by this fellow was in Walking Dead. My name's Coleman, Chad Coleman.
Oh, he's in this, okay.
Yeah. And so they had to, but what happens is that they had to scrub the ship, but you realize they leave a little piece left. They miss a part. So that's going to cause for the future. This is a pretty awesome premiere for the most part. Especially the ending involving Gunry and Alpha Sarala having to escape on this. Basically, it's like a speeder ship. It's a small, tiny ship that moves super fast. Mm-hmm. But because everything, for the most part, it's quite realistic in the show, you have to worry about G-forces now. Oh. So Alpha Sarala's character, she's pretty old. She probably would not. She had to be worried about this ship taking off, and then the ship behind them that they had to escape exploded now. Right. So it's all shockwaves and whatever. It is all them little simple things in space could kill you there. Yeah. So that was the ending of the episode where they had to escape the explosion. They had to time it with the shockwave and go into, not warp, but basically what the future propulsion in the storyline is. This is how they navigate the solar system relatively quickly. Is what I call the Epstein drive, which is similar to what a theoretical ion drive is, where you could potentially go, if you keep going on, you'll go up to 0.99 the speed of light if you keep going on. But realistically, it won't happen like that because the G-forces would kill you. So they balance it off in terms of how to travel reasonably fast without the trade-off of humans suffering under all of those stressful conditions. And then you have a lot of unmanned technology sending out itself in the world. And that's pretty much it. So what happens is that they had to take off in the Epstein drive, and they take off, and the last shot is with them with this really awesome sequence with the two chairs lining up, because the way the ship is designed is to circumnavigate and deal with the problem of the G-forces now. So the G-forces, they won't feel it as much. And you see this big rotating mechanism set itself, and it's like, oh, that's pretty damn awesome set design on their part. Right. And that was the end of the episode. They're basically outrunning a shockwave.
Okay.
Yeah. That's about it. Pretty awesome premiere. I recommend the show to you. I really do recommend the show.
Yeah, I need to make the time to watch it. Like, really
I just recommend binging it. It started off slow, but it had some good working mechanisms in the beginning, especially because of this guy. What's his name, boy? Thomas Jane.
But yes, he's in that show.
Thomas Jane plays one of the main characters. Yeah. And well, we're not sure what happened to him yet, but we think the character's dead at this point. Again, I don't know because I didn't read the books. But it's implied that he could be dead at this point. But he has been out of the show for a while, for almost all of season 2. And
I wonder why, but he's probably working on a movie or something.
Not sure, whatever. Okay. But anyway, it's pretty good. Enjoying the show. I'm a big fan of the show, mostly because how reasonably grounded a lot of the science is.
Right.
They make a couple mistakes here or there. And then, well, of course, you have to accept the alien stuff, right? And that's about it. I really like it. They have a lot of references, a lot of good science, good politics, good history. You really got a good sense of world building with the show. I really strongly celebrate the show, and I'm glad that this show exists. It's a little on the cheap end, admittedly. With SyFy, of course.
Oh, really?
And, we now live in an age of it's post Target universe where you really couldn't spend the kind of money. I mean, one of the reasons why Target universe failed is because of the enormous budget. So the show looks great, don't get me wrong, but it looks cheap still.
Okay.
So that's about it. Nothing much to talk about because it's just one episode. When the rest of the season finish, we'll talk about it.
Cool. Can't guarantee that I'll be able to watch all the episodes in time for the finale, but I'll see what I could do.
Just start with season 1, and I guarantee. I really think that you'll be pulled in by the end of season 1. I really genuinely think so.
All right. Well, I hope that I will.
But I make the point that it's Game of Thrones in space, right? Yeah. It have all these multiple players and factions and whatnot you have to keep up with, but it's not too tedious. It's fine. Right. To me, it's perfectly fine. But Game of Thrones really looks great and high budget. That's the difference with the show. So look a little cheap. That's the only problem with the show. It still looks good.
SyFy after all. So yeah.
That's the thing, right? I look, if the Expanse could have get on HBO and they could have get the budget, Judd, I would have been like, wow, I'd applaud them and bow my head. But yeah, I'll take what I get.
All right. Okay, so last but not least, now we're going to talk about a SyFy series that I thought you would have watched. I thought you would have been interested in seeing, just off the title alone.
I just couldn't. No, Saturday I couldn't find time because yesterday I was busy with stuff.
All right.
And I was supposed that was my window to binge it, and I missed it. So by the time I came home, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna finish this, and I was way too tired. So by the time I wake up, I would be like, I would watch like probably half the episodes by the time we started recording. So yes, whatever. I'll watch it after.
All right. Well, I actually watched the majority of the episodes yesterday at the time of this recording. I watched the last 2 this morning. Of course, I'm talking about season 1 of Netflix's Lost in Space.
Right.
Now, a little background with me and Lost in Space, right? So, first experience I had with Lost in Space was Well, I'll talk about the series first,
right? Now, for me, it's the Irwin Allen stuff. So, Irwin Allen, if anyone knows who that is, he is a big TV producer, I think, back in the 60s.
Yes.
He's responsible for a ton of great shows. Time Tunnel, I think Journey Center the Earth, I think he wasn't responsible. And you can find out a whole list.
The sea. Well, yes, he worked on movies and stuff like that. Poseidon Adventure, Taurian Inferno,
right, exactly.
Those kind of things.
He was involved in if I remember correctly, he was involved in in Lost in Space. He was probably his most famous work, right?
Yeah.
Lost
He
in Space
created and produced the series.
Right. Lost in Space was some goofy shit. I never cared for the show.
Yeah, it is goofy. It is goofy.
Yeah, I never cared for the show. I could see why it had a fan base, but like, you know, you had a show like Star Trek, which was...
It feels more like a cult following than anything else.
Exactly.
Like all these 60s Batman
I'm sure if I was alive at the time, I'd probably hate it. Like, you know, it's a show that is a little too goofy, you know, compared to Star Trek, which actually took itself a lot more seriously and dealt with more serious issues. You know, again, Star Trek was some goofy bullshit too, but at least Star Trek was a little more, you know, political and social and whatnot.
It was about something.
About something,
had
right.
meaning. Right.
Lost in Space didn't seem to be about anything. It was just a, you know, Danger Will Robinson.
Yeah, it's a SyFy version of the Swiss Family Robinson. Just
right, and then
they lost, and let's see how much shenanigans you could put them into, and that's
right. And then the possibly foppish gay uncle character who was the villain. So he was that's the only thing you remember with the show.
Smith, right?
Dr. Smith.
Exactly. Smith, right.
And you know, well, we flash forward. They decided to bring back the show in a movie form with the incredibly idiotic 1998 action film.
Oh my god!
Which I remember they hyped that to hell. Like
I know, right?
that had so much promotion because it's like, yeah, we bring it back, Lost in Space, so and so. And I remember liking the beginning of it. I remember when it started, you know how they used to, when they had the little kind of weird jump gate system with the kind of Stargate kind of thing, but in space, and I thought that was kind of cool.
That was kind of cool. Looking back at it, no, it looks, it's really cool. It's really cool. Right,
and then they did the whole, it's kind of the first time you saw that quote-unquote freeze time effect. Like, it's the first time I remember it. So when they went through the sun and time froze, kind of, so it had this kind of weird 3D matrix thing.
I'll talk about that, but yeah.
And then they decide to reveal the plot itself, and like, holy shit, what the fuck is this? So much shippiness, eh? I know Lost in Space dumb, but like, holy shit, you couldn't update this. And then they had a bunch of like people who thought this would have been a big break, like Joey from Friends.
Yeah.
That
Matt LeBlanc is in this shit. Wasn't that shit, sorry.
And he was not the worst thing ever, but jeez, boy, like they tried to make him look good. Yeah, the man don't look good because they had this sequence where, you know, you had to fight some spiders or some bullshit, and he like had this it's supposedly badass where he faced into a mask.
He had a shield.
And it's so fucking lame.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like at the time I thought it was lame. I was like, that's not so like, well.
Now, alright, so if you don't mind, right? So
quick question. Did Men in Black come out before this?
Yes, it did. And I was about to mention Men in Black.
I think that's why I was so underwhelmed by this. Because, like, yeah, but like Men in Black way cooler than this shit.
I know. And when Men in Black got nominated, I think got nominated for Oscar for the visuals, though. Like, compare their visuals, Men in Black's 1997 visuals, to this movie here. So, right. So my history with Lost in Space, right? That movie, when it came out in 98.
Yeah.
Yes, you were right. There were a lot of ads for this. I was hyped. I had to see this movie, and you know, it's one of those movies it's one of those I love the 90s moments where everything in this had to be so flashy and so edgy and so, oh wow, it's so cool, man, I have to see this, right? Yeah. And of course it's a year after Men in Black, and you know how that blew people's minds. Those are sci-fi movies, right? So my point is, in the 90s, especially in mid to late 90s, there were these like flashy sci-fi action movies now that just look so cool. You just had to see it. Like, look at the Lost in Space logo. Look how cool it is. Just an L and an S, right? You look at it now and you just laugh. Like, look at this shit. Look at this shit, right? But here's the thing. I went into this movie, like, I was young and dumb at the time, right? And for some odd reason, I liked the film. I actually liked the film, right? But here's the thing. I never went back to that movie ever. I never watched it again. Yeah. Until the night before I watched the Netflix Lost in Space. And I was like, how the fuck did I like this movie, Jed? It's one of the worst things I ever see in my life. And it's from New Line Cinema. I was telling myself, so they take the money from Dark City's budget and put into this movie here, and they still come on looking so shitty.
Yeah.
Because this had 80 million in its budget.
Right.
80 million. You will watch that right now, Ricardo. You'll be like, what did they do with that money, Jed?
Yeah.
What did they do with that money? And yes, we could go into detail and say New Line Cinema's CG was never the best. I mean, look at Mortal Kombat, for example. Look at Mortal Kombat Annihilation, for example. Like, they never had great CG. Even Dark City didn't even have the best CG in the world. But because he had a great director on board, he kind of work around it, right? So I forgive Dark City, right? But goddamn, Dread, Lost in Space, the CG that is terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, it's a mess,
there is a scene where you see this little monkey character that they call Blap.
Oh yeah, they couldn't
design on that
I don't know what happened with that.
What was
that was a mess too.
There's some spiders in that movie. Same spiders that you mentioned.
What was so cartoony.
Yeah. The armor the kind of face plate, the face plate armor that they had on Matt LeBlanc's face when he go to face those same spiders in one scene. What was that?
Yeah.
The robot, at least they make an attempt to make it look kind of high tech compared to the 60s version of it. So at least they get credit for that. But what annoyed me, boy, the story was annoying. It just sucked. It made no sense. I didn't give a shit about any of the characters in this movie. William Hurt was just there trying to be stoic, and Mimi Rogers, who played the wife Maureen, she had like one of the most cringeworthy lines where she talk about when you finish hosing down the deck with your testosterone.
Right, yeah.
Like, think about that for a minute. When you're finished hosing down the deck with your testosterone.
Contrived bullshit feminist line.
Sounding good on paper, but when she delivered, my God, that was terrible. Heather Graham, remember her? Right, she played Judy. Right. She tried, but and then they spin this real shitty looking love interest thing with her and Mark LeBlanc character. Like, they try to develop this romance thing, fail miserably. I didn't even know Lacey Chabert or Chabert, I believe that's how I pronounce her name. She was Penny. She was just so fucking annoying. She was a little bratty, edgy girl. Was like, oh well, I don't want to go to this trip, man. I just want to go to the mall, man. Hated that. And this is another movie, just like with movies from the 90s, where you had that male kid actor. I think this gotta be his big break. I was like, you never see him again. And this kid was Jack Johnson, who played Will Robinson. Never saw him again in a movie after this, right? I didn't even know Lenny James from Walking Dead, right, was in this movie. He was actually in the beginning. There was this real cheesy looking Star Wars kind of battle scene that made no sense. Yeah, so he was there now. But really the main person that you remember from this movie, believe it or not, is Gary Oldman, Jared. Yeah. Poor Gary Oldman was in this. Way long before he won the Academy Award for Best Actor, but he was in this, Jared. His talents were wasted in this way. You could tell the man he tried, but my God, boy, the script made, it's not that the script made no sense, it was just dull, it was uninteresting, there was not really much going on. They had this thing where they land on a planet and they realize, oh well, if you go here, you'll go into an alternate reality or you go into the future.
Some time travel nonsense.
There's some time travel bullshit. I was like, what the hell is this? What the hell is this?
Yeah.
And about that pre-bullet time scene where they hyperdrive through the sun and everything froze. I remember back in 98, I thought it was cool because they advertised the hell out of that scene. I watching that scene now today and I just laughing my ass off. Okay, seeing how everything blurred, like the characters themselves blurred now. And the camera trying to do this 360 around everybody, right? But you could tell that they're moving too, but it's like, okay, is zero gravity all of a sudden? Like, how they moving all of a sudden, even though they're supposed to be frozen in this one moment now? And like, when you're looking at the character designs, you're seeing everybody looking blurred, their faces blurred, their bodies looking blurred. It's just so terrible, Jared. So yeah, I totally hate this movie. It's not one of those, it's not even one of those, it's so bad it's good, Jared. It's just, how can you take $80 million and make a piece of shit like this, Jared? And two more things. Like, I never saw the old series prior to watching that movie, but I could tell they just took a giant shit over that franchise, boy. They just tried to pay tribute to it, but they didn't even do that. Even to the point, Jay, that this is my second point before I get to the actual review. The Lost in Space theme song that they play at the end of this movie, right? The edgy techno theme song that we all wanted.
I remember that. Yeah.
I remember the first time I watched this movie, I was like, okay, This is real cool though. Hearing it again, and I heard I just stopped it. I stopped it, and I just fast forwarded to the end, to the last set of end credits. I could not bear that. That was unbearable. I could not stomach it. That's probably the worst song I've heard. Like trying to remake an old song, basically. It was unbearable to listen to. So yeah, I totally hate the 1998 Lost in Space movie, right? And I was worried. But the reason why I watched over this movie, not just because I haven't seen it in roughly 20 years, right? But also I wanted to see what they would have like replicated or done better in this reboot, basically from Netflix, right? So before I actually get into the show, we got the teaser trailer for Lost in Space back on February 21st, right? Yeah. And it was okay. Well, all right, Lost in Space is coming, and this is the date. This is when it's coming out. And I was watching, so I was like, all right, this is really looking really good now. I'm really excited to see this, right? And then I figure, here's what, let me do a little research. Let me try to watch the old series, right? So what I did is I watched the unaired TV pilot for the old Lost in Space series, right?
Right.
And not saying it was shitty, not saying it was terrible, but I blacked out of that, boy. I actually made the mistake of watching this thing on a Friday night. I was just so tired, so like 50 minutes after that show start, I was just like just nodding off of myself. But while I was the stuff that I did see, you are right, Ricardo. It is goofy. It is cheesy. The visuals are so cool. Like there's a part where the ship is going through like this meteor shower. It looks so laughable. It looks so bad.
Terrible.
When they went on this planet and there's these gigantic creatures, you could tell what is like a matte paint, and you could tell that they use rare screen projection, all that kind of stuff. You could tell what they had to work with there, but it just looks so goofy and cheap. It's not a show that, like I said, you could really take seriously now. And I was worried that we might get the same thing here with this series here. But fortunately, we don't get that at all, right? So basically, this series here is 10 episodes. It stars Toby Stevens.
Yeah.
He is from a Star show called Black Sails, which is a show I have yet to watch.
Black Sails is alright. I don't love it, but alright.
Yeah, like I expected this thing to be the new Spartacus, but I just never get around to watching it, so I don't know, right? And he plays John Robinson, of course. He's the leader. He's the leader of the he's the patriarch of the Robinson family. Playing the wife Maureen is Molly Parker. Last time I saw her was in what was my show, House of Cards.
Yeah.
And now no longer my show for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
We won't get into that.
Right.
We have some in terms of the kids themselves, we have Taylor Russell, who plays Judy. We have Mina Sonwall, who plays Penny. We have Maxwell Jenkins, who plays Will. And forgot to mention too, in terms of Don West, who was played so excellently by Matt LeBlanc in the movie. He's played by Ignacio Ciricchio, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. But pretty interesting. A person I didn't expect to see in the show was Parker Posey.
Right, yeah, I heard she was in this, right?
Yeah, and she plays Dr. Smith.
Okay, right. So this is okay. So the gender switch. Okay, no problem.
Well, slight spoiler, but they do show it in the first episode. She assumes the identity of the real Dr. Smith, right? Because
right.
Because what happens? Well, just jumping into the story, right? So there is this object, this celestial object that crashes on Earth. It happens during Christmas time. Actually, it has a part to play with the Robinson family themselves. And speaking of the Robinsons, well, basically, Maureen is this aerospace engineer. Her kids are ridiculously smart. Well, especially the youngest, who is Will. He's 11 years old and he is just incredibly smart. But what happens now? In terms of the dad himself, he is a former U.S. Marine. It's established early on that Maureen and John were divorced. They just had a rough relationship. Judy actually she's the stepdaughter actually of John, right?
Right.
Which was kind of interesting because Judy is black actually, but more mixed actually, and I was kind of wondering what was going on here. Though basically, how come it is they have a mixed child when everybody else is just predominantly Caucasian, right? So they explain that right later on. But eventually there is, well, because of the object falling down, it kind of affects the environment of the world, especially just basically the atmosphere, the air basically, right? So people are surviving there, but it's kind of established that if they stay longer on Earth, then they may eventually die, right? So they're looking for new planets to colonize, and one planet that they discover is a planet called Alpha Centauri, which they of course is a reference to the old series as well. So there is this space station, this orbiting space station called the Resolute, and basically from there is where they do these where different individuals could go there, and once they qualified, they embark on these on their specific journeys to Alpha Centauri to actually find that planet, right? The ships themselves are called Jupiter, so it's Jupiter 1, Jupiter 2, etc, etc, etc. And the Robinsons actually embark on their own journey with one of the Jupiter crafts, right? But something happens, and it actually happens to a majority of the Jupiter ships. So they find themselves they actually crash land on this planet, this mysterious uninhabited planet basically. And the interesting thing about this planet here is that geologically and environmentally it's unsound, right? So yes, as you would expect from Lost in Space, there are a myriad of different creatures, some gigantic beasts, some weird creatures and stuff like that, but also there are a lot of like natural occurrences, some really like weird stuff that's happening, and the Robinson family just has to deal with that while they're trying to get their way back home. Now later on in the series we learn that there are other Jupiter ships crash landed on that planet, and in one of those ships we are introduced to Don West. He is just basically this smuggler, right? So he just hustles goods and all that kind of stuff, but in episode 1 they kind of hinted what happened here. There was an attack on the ship itself, on that space station, and it was from an alien creature, an alien robot that just so happens to be the robot character of Lost in Space here, right? So one circumstance leads to the next, and Don escapes. He jumps into one of these ships, and Parker Posey, who plays June Harris, she is trying to get on board one of those, and then she ends up stealing the ID card of one of the doctors who's working in that ship, so who just so happens to be Dr. Smith. So she just takes on the moniker of Dr. Smith now. So she tells Don, yes, I'm a doctor and I'm a psychiatrist and all that kind of stuff, right? So she just basically lying her way from one moment to the next, just to get ahead basically, right? So they crash land to the same planet. Of course, Don and the fake Dr. Smith end up running into the family, and even before that, Will ends up running into the same robot who was wrecking damage on that same ship, and they form a bond. But later on they realize that there is more to this creature more to this robot than meets the eye. Haha, I know, get it. Basically is that there is a dark side to him. He can flip out. They're not really too sure exactly if he is trustworthy, because yes, he could defend them from harm. He does the whole danger Will Robinson thing, but at the same time they're not too sure whether he could flip out and murder his family and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually, they do form a bond with Don. Don kind of helps him out in certain missions as well too, because the main mission really it kind of reminds me of Lost in a way, where you have because I was telling myself,
that's what I heard.
Yeah, I was telling myself.
I heard it's Lost in Space.
Yeah. Because exactly, like I didn't expect it to be Lost in Space. I thought it was just about the Robinsons getting out. I didn't know it was a whole group of people from the Resolute trying to get back home. Well, trying to get to the Resolute and then back, then go to Alpha Centauri again, right? But what was pretty unexpected actually was the character of Dr. Smith, right? I thought it was just going to be this one shady character, because like if you remember from the movie and from the old series, he is a saboteur basically, right? and basically he's that character that you don't trust, but he's kind of always there to assist them whenever they need him. So he kind of finds a reason to stay with the Robinsons though. But here with this new Dr. Smith here, she reluctantly joins the Robinsons, but you're never too sure exactly what she's trying to do, or basically like she's always trying to sabotage something, but really and truly it's all about her trying to get back to that space station, you know?
Right.
But yeah, basically that's really what it is. Just these characters crash land on this planet, they're trying to get out, but there's just all these hindrances. For one thing, there's the robot, there's the environmental makeup of the planet, and then there's also the character of Dr. Smith herself. You know, you're not too sure if you should trust her, and then really right off the bat she is untrustworthy, so you're not too sure where she's coming from. So let me just get into the good here. The characterization. I really was impressed by the characterization here. It did take a while for the characters to really gel on me, to really develop and grow on me, but they did eventually, and I really I really was impressed by the characterization here. I love the family dynamic between the main characters here, especially with the mother and father. I love that they were able to work out the differences despite the fact that they were separated, all that kind of stuff. They basically sticking around for the kids now. And as for the kids themselves, I thought that acting wise, I thought that they were excellent, especially the kid who plays Will, Maxwell Jenkins, because in the movie, I hated Will. He was just that. I just couldn't buy this little kid as being so smart now. Like, oh, I just hacked into the robot's mainframe and that's how I could control him, and I couldn't buy that at all. But with this depiction of Will, I love the fact that you could buy into the fact that, yes, despite his young age, he is incredibly smart. You could tell that he's a bookworm, he reads a lot, he learns a lot, and he's also willing to experiment and try things out now. And on the subject of experimentation, this show really reminds me of a similar show in a way, The Martian, where it's like, just sciencey shit out of it. Just to quote what you said in your review of The Martian, his characters basically sciencing the shit out of certain, situations now. And I really wish that you could see it, so maybe you could tell me, but maybe that don't work. That really don't work. They just really kind of twist that for the show. I don't know.
For the time we say is it's lost, in space. I try to point it there, but I had to watch it myself and then justify what we're doing.
Yeah, because they do bring up some scientific stuff. It doesn't beat you over the head over it, but you could tell that. All right, but for me though, I love the fact that they were able to think outside the box and be like, all right, we need to figure this out. What do we do? All right, this could work. Let me test this out. Blah blah blah. Right. I love that stuff. That's really great. Molly Parker, I thought that she was excellent as Maureen. She really held her own in this series too, because there are some moments where the husband is not around, and now she has to hold her ground. She has to defend the family.
Yeah,
I love how resourceful and how fearless she was as well. And yeah, she was a great character. I really, really loved the character here. Toby, who plays John, I thought that he was decent as well, but he's the stoic male figure that you expect in a show like this. But I love the moments with him and his family, because you could tell that he's trying to make up with them for being separated for quite a long while now, And just the dynamic between the kids, I thought that worked excellent. I love how they work with each other, basically, right? The visual effects, I thought for the most part, for a Netflix TV show, I thought were well handled. I thought that they were well put together and stuff like that. They didn't really blow me away. It was like some jaw dropping visuals and stuff like that, but you could tell that they had to work with a budget and they do their best. Particularly with the design of the robot itself. The design itself was pretty interesting as well, because for one thing, I was expecting the goofy kind of warning robot, right? But what they do here, because it's designed for battle basically, so it has a battle design where it has 4 arms, and each arm has like a laser, so it shoots all lasers. But then when it's not attacking, it kind of goes back to normal 2 hands and stuff like that. And I thought that was a really interesting design as well. They even do the whole kind of faceless look kind of thing. They do that kind of creative as well. So I would say it's like, I would say it's like the most unique robot I've seen. It does have certain things about it that do feel familiar, like you've seen this before in other sci-fi shows of the past few years,
Right.
whatever. But the design, I thought, I thought that it earned points into the attention that they put into the design. I thought that was really cool. As far as the creatures go, because I was really studying creatures, but I kind of expect them to be in the show. I wish that they could have been a little bit more detailed to the characters, to the creatures themselves. They did feel like generic creatures that you've seen in other sci-fi shows already. So you have the gigantic beast that roars. You have the flying bat-like creatures. I mean, you've seen these things depicted before in other shows. So to me, I didn't really. But to me, those were the selling point of the show anyway. So it didn't take me out of the show. But when they were there, I was just like, well, yeah, looks kind of generic, whatever, blah blah blah, right? The supported cast, I thought that they were great as well. The way how they were worked into the story as well, I thought was great. But the one character where I was iffy at first, and then I kind of got it, but overall I'm still iffy by, is Parker Posey's character.
Right.
Her Dr. Smith's character, I mean, she's more sociopathic than anything else, but I felt that her motivation was muddled throughout the entirety of the season. Because it's like, all right, I'm here now, I have to survive. But now I have to basically stab your back to get where I need to reach. And then when she learns about the robot, something happens along involving her and the robot there, and I kind of take it, oh, okay, so she wants to kill the robot. Wait, no, she doesn't want to kill the robot. What does she want to do? And then later on there in the end, you realize, oh, she wants to leave because basically the other people come up with the idea, I'm not going to spoil what it is, to get out, right? To leave that planet and get back to the Resolute. But according to the fake Dr. Smith, she said that idea won't work at all. So I wondered if she's saying that, like maybe she wanted to sabotage the ship, or just maybe she just thinking realistically or logically, and just really calling out the plan for how bad it was. I'm not going to spoil how that ends, but basically after that, it's like, okay, now we're going to use this ship here to get back to the Resolute, but now I want to control it, and I want the robot because there's nothing else for me, and this robot could protect me, and I could be who I want to be, and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of weird exactly what her real motivation is. It kind of feels like she's just going through the motions, just like, all right, I'll just figure it out. I'll figure it along as I go along. But I just wish that there was just like one concrete motivation, so at least we could understand why she does what she does and why she is who she is, basically, right? But I thought that performance-wise, Parker Posey was great. She is that sneaky character, is that character you just don't trust at all. It's like every time she says so, now in the back of my mind, I was like, man, stop lying. Like, really, just stop lying, right? And a certain quote came to mind, right? Like, if you remember Blade Trinity and her appearance in that movie, and Ryan Reynolds' famous, that famous swear that she did to, involving thunder and juggling and a meal chicken, right? There's a couple of moments in this show where I was like, oh my god, you bleep 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 bleep. Seriously, in my head I was like calling out like that, Jen. Like, bitch, you didn't just do that, Jen. Like, come on, Jen. You did not just do that. But once again, like I say, it's basically about survival, like her survival. But once again, because you're not too sure what she's trying to do, what her end game is, you're not too sure why she's doing the things that she does. And I felt they could have worked that out a lot better. The music I thought was excellent as well too. They do harken back to the old John Williams theme song. Yes, John Williams did the original theme song for Lost in Space, which they bastardized in that god awful techno remix that they did for the 19 movie. Yeah, but I thought that the callbacks that they did, the music as a whole was great. It was excellent, very dramatic, very cinematic. I love that. And they do tie into they do hint at a second season. And I confess something, I'm actually excited to see where this story goes, because my god, the way how they end the season, but I was like, oh my god, okay, I cannot wait until next year. I really have to see where the show goes. As well, in terms of flaws, along with Parker Posey's kind of model character. I wish that they did the world building a lot better. I wish that we understood exactly why this object crashed into Earth, how that really affected the world.
If you're calling it quote unquote lost in space, then you're gonna get mystery box bullshit, and you ain't gonna learn that shit until season 4 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah, unfortunately, like okay, I understand that they have to leave Earth, but there was a point in time where they were surviving on Earth. So it's like, why this sudden decision now to go to this new planet? Like, I wish we could have learned more about that, and even more like how they found that planet, why they, just the politics behind it now, why they chose this method to basically take Earth's humanity and send them across there. Like, what was the motivation behind that?
Yeah.
Also, too, they kind of kept the whole alien attack a pure mystery as well. And then once again, okay, well, maybe this is just me being a little bit more nitpicky. I wish I had a little bit more. I wish I got more detail as to the nature of that machine, how it was able to just switch, from good to bad, from one order to the next one. It was kind of weird. But other than that, though, I was surprisingly entertained by this. I would say that the first episode or two were a little rough. Wasn't really sure exactly how things were going to play out, especially how they changed certain stuff. For one thing, with the robot, secondly with Dr. Smith as well, and how she ends up with the family, with the Robinson family. Like, I was a little unclear or a little unsure, as to where the story was going to lead to. But then when it kind of when he eventually meet the other people and realize it's lost in space, that's when things started to pick up for me, and that's when I was like, all right, I really feel it for these characters. I really want to see them get home, And then, of course, but I'm expecting this is like harkening back to the old series, where it's like one dangerous situation after the next. It's just dangerous situation after the next. And I was worried that they were going to overdo it. Where it's like every episode must have some kind of big, gigantic monster or some kind of big ecological event that goes wrong or some kind of stuff. But fortunately, they don't do that. But I do love the fact that they do put these characters through danger, through a lot of tension, through a lot of intense moments, and you do feel that intensity. You do want them to come out of it, right? But yeah, overall, I really, really enjoyed this first season of Lost in Space. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, and just the mere fact that it left me wanting to see the next season, like, immediately as soon as that final episode came to an end. Yeah, that's really amazing to me. So yeah, for me, I would give this a very light 4 to 5 stars. Performances were great, the visual effects were great, the music was great. Still kinda iffy about the Parker Posey character, but still I kinda appreciate the fact that they try to do something a little bit different. And yeah, not more I can say about this one. So yeah, do check it out as soon as you can. You will enjoy it. It does start off a little slow, a little sluggish, a little rocky, but trust me, just hold on to it and you will be entertained throughout the rest of this series here. So yeah, season 1 of Lost in Space, thoroughly enjoyed it. Light 4 to 5, definitely recommend it.
Right, nice one.
All right.
Okay. Well, sad, unfortunate news.
Oh yes. Well, yeah. Please say it.
Yeah. The passing of Ermey.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Wow.
We know him as the sergeant in Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, right? I thought you were going to say Miloš Forman, director of. Yeah, Miloš Forman.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot.
Director of One Flew
passed,
Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Amadeus, The People vs. Larry Flint. Yeah, so he passed away a couple of days ago. But I didn't know that Ermey, though, legendary character from Full Metal Jacket, who had some of the best lines in that whole movie. I didn't know he died, though. Wow.
He just passed, yeah.
Jeez,
so unfortunate news. So at the time I was recording, he just passed. So kind of sad ending to this episode.
Yeah,
but yeah, so
boy. Wow, boy. So
yeah,
didn't really know about Ermey's death, but yeah, but rest in peace. He will be remembered for all time. So yeah, boy. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, it just really hit me deep, boy. But
yeah, just shocking.
Okay, so while I recuperate, Ricardo, where can we find you online?
At Armedy, that is at Ampersat RMEDDY on Twitter, and then you could just type in Ricardo Medina on Facebook. You could find me there.
All right, you can also find me on Twitter. Just look for Legally Black MGB, MGB and capital letters. You can also find me on Facebook. Just look for my name, Matthew Bailey, along with my Legally Black blog official fan base page, where you'll find the link to this podcast here, as well as the others that we've done over the past couple of years. And also, too, you could find me on Instagram. Just look for Matthew Bailey Reviews. And I'm also on Stardust as well, although I'm still kind of trying to get the hand of these 30-second reviews. But yeah, I'll see what I could do over the next week or so. But carry the guarantee anything at the moment. All right, so stuff to look forward to from now. Season finale of Black Lightning, Season 1.
Yeah.
We'll have to remember to talk about that. Also, in terms of TV, we actually saw the ad for this, the trailer, for this yesterday while I was watching Lost in Space. We get Season 2 of Dear White People.
Okay, yeah, right.
That's coming out May the 4th, I believe it is.
Cool.
Yeah, Friday, May the 4th, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, definitely looking forward to that. Also, Rampage. Not really expecting anything great out of it.
You know, the thing is, only one movie viewer who I follow really liked it and recommended as a Movie Bob.
Why am I not surprised? Because he just loves B movies, huh?
Right, but everybody else just gave it like mediocre to bad scores. So I'm like, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
But I generally agree with Movie Bob's reviews, so we'll see.
Yeah. Also a show that I would be looking forward to at all. I hear a lot of bad things about this. Truth or Dare.
Yeah, I hear that was a mess.
I'm hearing a lot of bad things about that.
I doubt I'm going to see it. I'm going to make the effort to see Thoroughbreds.
Yes, Thoroughbreds. Unfortunately,
I'll try to see that. I heard that was alright.
On my side, but you could get to see it on your side, unfortunately.
The one movie that I thought we'd have gotten by now, but we know I ain't sure when it coming is Isle of Dogs. We're not sure.
Yeah, what a guan,
I've seen a poster, I've seen trailers, but not getting anything. So I know it coming because I've seen a poster in C3, in C3, in seen a poster in South Park. But
yeah, there's also one in CC too by me, but
yeah,
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it was a come by now.
Yeah. And also Blockers as well too. Right. He had some good stuff about that too, so we will check that out. Alright, so that's pretty much about it. So once again, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This was Matthew Bailey and
Ricardo Medina.
And we are signing off from another episode of BSB to Bailey. So until the next one, take care. Peace.
All right.